1. Big Fights Alert. Taylor-Serrano 3 and more boxing scheduled July 11th to 12th breakdown. 2. Jake Paul vs. Mike Tyson, $1 million bet on Taylor-Serrano boxing trilogy. 3. Taylor vs. Serrano 3, fight preview, records and how to watch. 4. Jake Paul and Mike Tyson make $1 million bet on Katie Taylor vs. Amanda Serrano 3. 1. Big Fights Alert. Taylor-Serrano 3 and more boxing scheduled July 11th to 12th breakdown. The Ultimate Boxing Weekend Guide, Taylor-Serrano 3 and must-see fights on July 11th to 12th. Here's the truth, this weekend could redefine women's boxing history, and most fans aren't even aware of the stacked undercards. But before we dive into the details, let's address the elephant in the room: why does the boxing world keep sleeping on these matchups? More on that later. Friday, July 11th, a night of knockouts and legacy fights. 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. TrillerTV Plus, Island Knockouts, Part 1. Forget what you know about small-scale boxing events. This card from Malta's MEYR Center for Physical Education and Sport features an unexpected 11 to 12 fights, with most being 4-round contests. Here's the twist: several fighters have MMA backgrounds, and many are stepping into a professional boxing ring for the very first time. Could this be the next breeding ground for crossover stars? We'll find out soon enough. 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Netflix, Katie Taylor vs. Amanda Serrano 3, the Trilogy Decider. This isn't just another title fight, it's a historic collision for every major 140-pound belt: WBA, WBC, WBO, IBF, and IBO. Held at Madison Square Garden's main arena, not the smaller theater. Take note, this third installment of their rivalry has a controversial backstory. Taylor won their first bout via split decision in April 2022, then took a unanimous, but razor-thin, victory in November 2024. But here's where it gets interesting: this event also features 4 other unified, undisputed women's championship bouts, including Alicia Baumgardner, Ellie Scottney, Savannah Marshall, and Chernica Johnson. Oh, and Chantel Cameron defends her WBC interim title too. Why isn't this getting more hype? Saturday, July 12th, prelims, ProBox surprises, and a PPV gamble. 2 p.m. Eastern Time. DAZN, Ring 3 free prelims. 4 hours of undercard action, but with a mystery. Will a big-name fighter close the show? DAZN's playing coy, so you'll have to tune in to find out. Classic boxing promo tactics, right? 6 p.m. Eastern Time. ProBox, Lester Martinez vs. Pierre Dibom. From Fresno, California, this ProBox card lacks hometown stars Jose Ramirez or Mark Castro. Surprising, we know. But don't overlook proven talents like Katsuma Akatsuji, Senbata Erdnabat, and Vladimir Hernandez. Controversial take: why does ProBox keep scheduling against major competing events? Someone explain this strategy. 6 p.m. Eastern Time. DAZN PPV, Ring 3 main card, Berlanga vs. Sheeraz and Stevenson vs. Zepeda. Queens, New York hosts this $59.99 PPV, headlined by Edgar Berlanga, a choice that's already sparking debate. Is he really a PPV-level draw? The co-feature, however, is undeniable: Shakur Stevenson vs. William Zepeda for the WBC lightweight title, an interim belt. Plus, don't sleep on Alberto Puello vs. Subriel Matias, WBC 140-pound title, and David Morrell vs. Imam Kataev. Here's the burning question: is the undercard strong enough to justify the price tag? Final thought: with so many high-stakes fights across platforms, which matchup are you most excited about, and which one are promoters underestimating? Drop your hot takes in the comments. 2. Jake Paul vs. Mike Tyson, $1 million bet on Taylor-Serrano boxing trilogy. $1 million rivalry reignites. Jake Paul and Mike Tyson put $1 million on the line over women's boxing mega fight. In a stunning display of high-stakes confidence, social media sensation Jake Paul has wagered a jaw-dropping $1 million on his protégé Amanda Serrano to triumph in what many are calling the most significant women's boxing contest in history. But here's where it gets interesting: the bet is against none other than his former opponent, boxing legend Mike Tyson. The audacious wager centers around the highly anticipated Trilogy bout between Puerto Rican powerhouse Amanda Serrano and Irish phenomenon Katie Taylor, scheduled for Friday night at the iconic Madison Square Garden. Paul, who has been Serrano's promoter and champion for several years, is doubling down on his fighter's abilities with this seven-figure declaration of faith. On the opposite corner stands Tyson, the legendary heavyweight who has consistently voiced his admiration and support for Taylor throughout her illustrious career. Now, he's putting his money where his mouth is with a matching $1 million stake on the Irish champion. What makes this friendly gambling showdown particularly fascinating is that it marks the first public interaction between Paul and Tyson since their headline-grabbing November clash, a bout that saw the younger Paul emerge victorious by decision. Yet despite their competitive history, the FaceTime call where they established the wager revealed a surprisingly warm rapport, with both men even exchanging "I love you" declarations while simultaneously committing to their $1 million challenge. Paul shared footage of their digital encounter on social media today, capturing a conversation that began with an intriguing observation. "Man, a lot of people are saying that Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor's fight was better than ours and they are fighting again this weekend," Paul remarked to Tyson, referring to the fact that Taylor and Serrano had served as the co-main event during their own Netflix-streamed showdown. For those unfamiliar with women's boxing, the Taylor-Serrano rivalry has become legendary in the sport. Their previous encounters have been masterclasses in technical skill, heart, and determination, showcasing why women's boxing deserves equal spotlight and respect in the combat sports world. Their performances have been so compelling that they secured a rare second Netflix broadcast deal, an honor not even extended to Paul's subsequent boxing match against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. The boxing icon seemed unfazed by Paul's suggestion that the women had outshined them, simply declaring, "I got Katie." Paul's response was equally direct, "I got Amanda." The YouTube star-turned-boxer then proposed the seven-figure wager: "If Katie wins then you get $1 million, but if Amanda wins then I get $1 million." Tyson's response: "I like that." The 58-year-old legend even suggested they should go out for dinner afterward, what Paul playfully referred to as a date, regardless of the outcome. The financial stakes of this bet, while substantial, represent just a fraction of what both men reportedly earned from their November clash. Though official purse figures weren't disclosed since the fight took place in Texas, where guaranteed payouts remain private, industry insiders believe both fighters received enormous eight-figure compensation packages. Initial reports suggested Paul might have earned around $30 million, funds he reportedly invested in purchasing a ranch, while Tyson was rumored to have received somewhat less. However, these speculations were recently challenged during an appearance on the Jackson podcast by Nikisa Bidarian, co-founder of Most Valuable Promotions. "Just for the record so that everybody knows because I've seen a lot of bulls online," Bidarian stated after the host proposed a potential $45 million to $25 million split. Jake and Mike made the same money for Paul versus Tyson. "We would never disrespect Mike Tyson like that. What Jake did was reinvigorate Mike Tyson to the youth and to the masses." This equal financial arrangement underscores the mutual respect between the young social media maverick and the boxing legend, despite their 31-year age gap and vastly different career trajectories. Their November contest shattered viewing records with an astonishing 106 million viewers tuning in on Netflix, a testament to both Paul's marketing prowess and Tyson's enduring appeal. And now, with this $1 million wager on Taylor vs Serrano 3, they found another way to captivate the public's attention while simultaneously boosting interest in what promises to be an electric women's boxing showcase. But here's where the controversy lies: should boxing legends and influencers be using high-stakes gambling to promote fights? Does this commodify the athletes' performances or bring valuable attention to women's boxing? And perhaps most provocatively, what does it say about the state of combat sports when a side bet between two men threatens to overshadow the historic Trilogy fight between two of the greatest female boxers of all time? What's your take? Is this $1 million wager a brilliant marketing move or a distraction from the actual competitors? And who are you backing in this epic trilogy, Taylor or Serrano? Sound off in the comments below. 3. Taylor vs Serrano 3, Fight Preview, Records and How to Watch. The showdown everyone's arguing about: will Katie Taylor pull off the hat-trick, or is this finally Amanda Serrano's night to flip the script? Keep reading, because the numbers say one thing, the heart says another, and here's where it gets controversial. Taylor-Serrano 3 happens this Friday at New York's iconic Madison Square Garden, the very arena where their rivalry exploded into a modern classic back in 2022. Two razor-thin decisions have gone Taylor's way, yet many fans still insist Serrano deserved at least one of those verdicts. That debate alone makes the trilogy unmissable. Key broadcast details. Live text coverage, BBC Sport website and app from 1 o'clock British Summer Time, Friday night, Saturday morning for UK viewers. Undercard commentary, you'll catch most of the supporting bouts, including Ellie Scottney and Savannah Marshall's world title defenses. In-depth Fight Week content, daily reports plus Steve Bunce's New York-based 5 live boxing podcast specials. When to set your alarm. Co-main event, Alicia Baumgardner's title defense expected between 1:30 and 2:30 British Summer Time. Main event ring walks, about 3:30 British Summer Time, give or take a few show business minutes. Tip for UK night owls, have the coffee brewed by 3 o'clock, anything earlier and you'll risk nodding off before the first bell. Undercard at a glance, running order subject to change. 1. Ellie Scottney vs TBD, Super Bantamweight World Title. 2. Ramler Ali vs TBD. 3. Savannah Marshall vs TBD, Middleweight World Title. 4. Chantel Cameron vs TBD. 5. Alicia Baumgardner vs Mandatory Challenger, Co-Main. 6. Katie Taylor vs Amanda Serrano, Light Welterweight Championship Trilogy. Rounds, minutes, weight class. Distance, 10 rounds, 2 minutes each, standard for women's world title fights. Division, light welterweight, 140 pounds per 63.5 kilograms, same as their second clash. They first met at lightweight. Fun fact, after 20 completed rounds the pair have thrown 861 scoring punches, yet neither fighter has scored a knockdown. Will that streak survive another 20 minutes? Fight Week public events, UK times. Tuesday, open workouts, 10 p.m. British Summer Time, at the Oculus, World Trade Center. Good chance to gauge body language and form. Wednesday, final press conference, 11 p.m. British Summer Time, inside MSG's theatre. Expect a few strategic mind games. Thursday, weigh-in, 11 p.m. British Summer Time, same venue. Fighters often tip the scales earlier in private, then re-step on stage for the crowd. Tale of the tape, records and achievements. Katie Taylor, Ireland. Age, 39. Pro record, 24-1, 0 KO losses. Titles, 2-division undisputed champion, lightweight and light welterweight. Only defeat, May 2023 to Chantel Cameron, avenged 6 months later. Amanda Serrano, Puerto Rico. Age, 36. Pro record, the 1st of March 47. Titles, 7-division world champion, current undisputed featherweight queen. Recent form, 5 victories and a jump back to 140 pounds for this trilogy fight. Styles make fights, and controversy. Their chemistry is obvious, Serrano overwhelms with volume, Taylor replies with surgical counters. In Fight 1 Serrano outlanded Taylor 324-217, yet Taylor's cleaner, eye-catching blows earned her a split decision. Fight 2 saw a similar pattern, but here's the part most people miss, Taylor improved her inside positioning, smothering Serrano's work just enough to sway the judges wider in her favor. Numbers versus optics, which matters more? That's the eternal scoring debate. Some observers value total connects, others prioritize accuracy and impact. Where do you stand? Possible tactical twists for Chapter 3. Serrano's gamble, abandon headhunting, invest early in body shots to sap Taylor's foot speed. Taylor's adjustment, shorter bursts, pivot out, avoid long mid-ring exchanges that let Serrano accumulate volume. Wild card, a first knockdown either way would almost certainly settle the argument once and for all. Why this bout is unprecedented. A trilogy at this level of women's boxing, with both participants still holding world titles in multiple divisions, is essentially unheard of. It mirrors the men's great rivalries, think Ali Frazier, Gatti Ward, yet arrives in an era when female fighters rarely get 2 fights against the same opponent, let alone 3. And this is the question likely to split viewers on social media. If Serrano wins narrowly, does that mean we need a 4th fight to truly decide superiority, or does the trilogy format close the book regardless of outcome? Have your say. Does punch volume outweigh clean, precise scoring shots? Should women's world title fights move to 12 3-minute rounds like the men, especially for marquee matchups such as this? If Taylor makes it 3-0, where does Serrano rank among the greats despite the losses? Sound off in the comments, agree, disagree, or propose your own scoring criteria. Just be ready to defend your case. 4. Jake Paul and Mike Tyson make $1 million bet on Katie Taylor vs Amanda Serrano 3. Imagine betting $1 million on a single boxing match. That's exactly the high-stakes gamble Jake Paul and Mike Tyson are making as they lock in their predictions for the Katie Taylor vs Amanda Serrano trilogy fight this Friday on Netflix. Just like last time, Paul is backing Serrano, whom he promotes through Most Valuable Promotions, while Tyson stands firmly with Taylor, a fighter who's publicly credited Iron Mike as her career inspiration. But here's where the drama intensifies. This rematch features a jaw-dropping $1 million wager between them, ratcheting up the tension far beyond their previous friendly rivalry. Rewind to last November's showdown. Tyson's support for Taylor proved prescient when she edged out Serrano in a split-decision victory, while Paul's allegiance to his fighter came up short. That electrifying bout wasn't just a win for Taylor, it became the most-watched women's boxing match in history. Now, as the trilogy approaches, Paul dialed up Tyson to propose their massive bet. "A lot of people say Taylor vs Serrano topped even our events," Paul remarked, prompting Tyson to immediately declare, "I got Katie." Paul then laid down the terms: "If Katie wins, you get $1 million. If Amanda wins, I get $1 million." Tyson agreed, but with a spicy addendum: if Taylor triumphs, Paul also owes him dinner. Now, here's the controversial backdrop. Taylor has narrowly defeated Serrano twice before, both times by contentious decisions. After the first fight, Paul ignited fireworks by accusing Taylor's promoter Eddie Hearn of bribing a judge to secure her victory. This led to a messy legal battle. Hearn sued Paul for defamation, Paul countersued, and the feud only cooled back in March when they reached an out-of-court settlement. But here's the twist that'll make you scratch your head. Despite this bitter history, Paul and Hearn are professionally co-promoting Friday's event together. It's a head-scratcher. How do fierce rivals bury the hatchet so completely? And does this $1 million celebrity bet amplify the excitement or distract from the athlete's legacy? Now we turn to you. With 2 controversial decisions already favoring Taylor, do you sense extra pressure on the judges this time? And is such a colossal wager between promoters a fun stunt, or does it risk overshadowing the fighters themselves? Drop your take in the comments.